Peace and joy, guys. Welcome back to another video. Drumheller Farms. We're gonna do a nice little animal check here on the farm for you today. I lost a bunch of footage that I had filmed us getting our pigs and all kinds of stuff, and so I don't know what happened to it, but at either rate, it's a good opportunity to show you what's going on around the farm here. Currently, these Cornish crosses, they're all right up here at the front of the tractor. They're all ready to be moved, and these guys are about 6 weeks today. So, or I'm sorry, they are 7 weeks today. So they are about 2 weeks away from going to the processor. We go ahead and just run all of our chickens to 9 weeks. I raise only females anymore. I don't mess around with the cockerels. I don't like them. I think they're a pain in the butt compared to the females. And have fewer deaths with the females. They move better. They're less flighty. So we run them right to 9 weeks. Yeah, the new water system is set up pretty darn good here. I come out here in the morning when I move cattle. I fill up their water. It takes just a small little time out of the morning versus having to fill up buckets. It turned out pretty sweet. We just ran cattle in here, which we'll kind of show you what we're doing when we get over to the cattle, but I weaved fencing in and out of the frost freeze and all of our chicken tractors, and we ran cattle in here and mowed this down, but it was really wet, so we couldn't stack them in here really tight. All right, we're at the egg mobile here, and this is going to be their last day in this paddock. Still a lot of grass over there they haven't really gotten to, but it's time to move them. We're gonna move pigs today, so no sense of moving these and the pigs in one day. Might as well just divide that up between two different days. This will be our first move of the pigs. So they went out on pasture 2 days ago, and it's hard to believe what they've done already, and it's just because of the amount of rain that we've had. You can see a ton of grass out here yet for these guys. They ain't just going after it. Take a look at these turkeys here. They're about ready to go out on that fence, get out of the tractor here. All right, I had to run back to home base and grab some minerals. Our mineral program just consists of a general trace mineral. I did the cafe style mineral before, and besides for the fact that it was almost a full-time job to maintain that, and I kept thinking, you know, okay, eventually they're going to get caught up on everything they need and I won't have to fill it so often, but, you know, honestly, it was an everyday, or at bare minimum every other day, but mainly every day, taking an inventory of what I needed. All right, guys, you can see this grass. You know, it's mid-thigh in most places. It's starting to get some seed heads on it, and there's really not a whole lot we can do about that. Here we go, that's what I wanted to show you. This guy here is about 3 days old. Aren't you, buddy? And there's Mama. She knows where she's at. She's like, what are you doing with my baby? Allison's gonna let him in here. Oh, found you. Took me a minute. All right, I got a calf over here that I've been needing to tag, and he's in the perfect spot. I am almost completely out of ear tags. This is like the last one I have. I had to scribble out a date. Hey, easy, easy. Hey. It's all right. I just tagged it. That's basically what we do. You know, I don't pressure that. You know, I tagged one the other day. The first day it was born. And I knew better. I really did. But I did it anyways. I know that's an oxymoron, but I did it. And you know, that thing ran around like crazy. Its mom was going crazy. It was on the wrong side of the fence. It was just, I should have never done it. Now that one was about 4 days old, which sometimes is getting a little late because you can't catch them. But if you're patient and you just wait for the right opportunity, you can sneak up on them like that in tall grass when they're just laying down. And you know, we got pretty good mama cows. You seen her get a little shook up, but she knew I wasn't gonna hurt her baby, and boom, we're able to tag her. Now the tag was a little scribbly, but it's got the date on it, and it's got the right ear in it. We tag all our bulls on the right ear and all of our heifers on the left. All right guys, let's talk a little bit about the way we're grazing these cattle. Got about 100 head in here. That's right, poop right there where our trench was. Trying to grow grass here. You can see we got them in here pretty tight. This is only, you know, about 10 paces wide. So very narrow, very long paddock. And my hopes is I should get into something like this tomorrow morning. This is probably 80% harvest efficiency, I would say. And you know, some people might kind of talk bad about this style of grazing, that you know, you should only eat a third and leave the rest of it. And I gotta tell you, I did that for many years. You know, about 6 years of doing this now. And you know, I just heard Greg Judy, he just made a video. I watched it this morning. You know, I think his exact words were, people say you got to take 90% of it. Why would you want to do something stupid like that? That's so stupid. And you know, there was a time when I would have said the same thing, but sometimes you get yourself into a predicament where you are forced to change. And that was for us last year. We got into a 2-year drought, or I'm sorry, a 2-month drought, and we were forced to change our style of grazing. So I was forced to tighten them up like this, and I was forced to take this much. And all I can say is wow. You know, my problem in my grazing business at the time was I was leaving so much, I was trampling so much, and I thought all I was doing was so much good for the ground. And you know, I probably was, which they've come to realize even the last few years that the trampling of the grass is a little less important than, you know, the roots sloughing themselves off and building soil that way. But I think there was great benefits to what I did for those few years of just stampeding a ton of grass down into the soil. But I couldn't get a long enough resting period. And, you know, best I could get was, you know, 45 days. And that was tough. You know, I might have hit real close to 50 at one time. When we started taking them and smushing them together a little more, making them take a little more of the plant, my resting periods got a lot longer. We're talking like 75 days. And if you're in the grazing business, you know 25-30 days can make the difference if you're catching some rain. And yes, we are exposing the soil a little more here for evapotranspiration, you know, where you're going to, you know, lose a little bit of the moisture in your soil. But at the same time, one thing I'd have to argue, and this was Greg's point, is you're not leaving anything, which you can see we've left a lot. And underneath here, the soil is very moist. So there's still plenty there for harvesting solar energy and jump starting those plants back through sunlight. But we're also getting rid of some of this stem that when it grows back, it's going to be a lot more leafy as well. So, you know, our farm is going to turn into seed. The next farm we go to is going to probably be mostly seed heads. They're still pretty edible at this point, and eventually they'll turn brown. But we'll make the cattle take a little bit more, and that's kind of what we're doing right now. And I just got to tell you guys, it's really changed this non-selective style grazing. It's really changed what we can do on our farm. This is a heifer we actually got from Greg Judy, actually. Both of these are. Look at how springy she is. Here's one that's already had a calf, and she's not as puffy on her rear end as she is. Got the bulls pushed over there, letting this paddock regrow, letting this paddock regrow. And Buster and Bubba, in case you haven't saw them on the channel yet. Basically, we've been giving them this little area here around this sway hole. So we kind of rotate them around 4 little areas here. This is a pretty good size. This is about 2 acres, but these are kind of like bonuses, these little spots here. All right, ready for your new paddock? Ooh, sucker got me. All right, we're headed to the first pig move, and it feels like there's a storm brewing up. It's supposed to rain again tonight. I don't even want to say this, but it could not rain for maybe a week and we'd be good. Now, I'm not gonna say that, but I'm just saying I could almost say such a thing. that's why I said we kind of really don't, I could almost say we don't need any more rain, but almost. They tore this paddock up quite a bit because of it. Well, this is what 2 days they did to this paddock, and really has to do with the fact that it's just so wet out here. Last year, now we are a little earlier, so there's not quite as much forage as there was last year when we started. But man, last year there was, I mean, I moved them at like a week. And it was a week before I had to move them, and now look at this. They're just tearing the ever-living crap out of it. Kind of sucks. But they're having fun doing it. They like it. So that makes me happy that they're happy. And Joseph did come in here yesterday, and he spread a multi-species mix into this pasture. So I try to do that. You can see it. I try to do that a day before we move them, because what they'll do is they'll hoof it down in the ground. And you know, even at 2 days per paddock, which we should definitely get more than that, you know, we're talking 40, almost 50 days before we're going to come back here. These front paddocks are the wettest, and then this is bare because we ran the water line out here. I did throw a multi-species mix out here too, and oh yeah, it's starting to come in, buddy. Look at that. See all this broadleaf? That's all the multi-species mix I spread out here. Bunch of it there. Sweet. Yeah, pick. Got it? They're gonna have this tore up pretty good, and it's just because it's so stinking wet. But once we get further out in those paddocks, you can see there's more forage for them, and it's not so much of a low area. So we contemplated giving them 2 paddocks, but we figured, you know what, they need the practice moving, so we'll just move them again in a couple days. Come on. Come on. I think if we just let them see that grass, they're already seeing it. Yeah. Right here.
Oh my goodness.
Hang on a minute. They do eat that non-GMO grain a little bit too, but I bet they hardly eat anything after fresh paddock moves.